So yeah, after the next speaker, we're going to have a panel that will dive into a bit more about Web3 and the music industry. But before we start that panel, because one of the panelists has a lot to offer just on the historical side of the music industry, in terms of understanding performance and publishing rights and revenues. I'd like to welcome up to the stage our panelist, but now one of our speakers, Marco Erler from Lausen Law Firm. Please welcome to the stage.
So hello. Now we're talking about law. I hope you are a little bit patient now. Where is the next one? Where's the presentation?
If you just keep clicking, it's all in one presentation, so just keep clicking through. I didn't realize they weren't at the end of theirs, so almost there.
Yeah,
there he is.
Great. Okay. Well, in the presentation discussion with the other panelists, I said that I'm the dinosaur because I started in 2002 as a music lawyer, and this is really the old time. And now we have a new time. It's the time of NFT, it's the time of blockchain, it's the time of technology, and music business is not a technology business. Yes, we have the CD, we had the LP, we have the MP3, but it's always, there are people thinking about the old business. But now we have the new business, and I want to tell you something about, first, the old business and the impact of the new business or the new technology on the music business. What I want to talk about is at first the rights and what kind of rights the musicians owns, because it is relevant regarding the music streams or the revenue streams, what kind of rights you are selling. So we have the authors. The authors, they own the rights in the composition and in the lyrics. So they, in case the composition will be played, it is relevant that the author get paid. It's the same with the artist, so the singer who sings the composition and the lyrics. He has the rights in the master. So it is what he's singing or when he's playing a guitar or another instrument. Then we have the producer who has also right in the master. So for example, if you have a song, for example, Madonna Like a Prayer, then you have two different parts you have to clear with respect to the rights. The first thing is you have to clear the rights in the musical work, so you have to ask the author whether you're entitled to use the musical work, and you have to ask the singer and also the producer. Okay. So let's talk about the contractual situations, so the old business. The authors, they make contracts with collecting societies. For example, in Germany, it's the GEMA. And also with publishers. So the author has two contracting parties, it's the GEMA and the authors, or other collecting societies all over the world. The artist has contracts with labels and also collecting societies such as the GVL in Germany. The producer is the same. Okay, let's talk about the revenue stream. As I told you, we have two different parts. We have the part of the musical work and the part of the master. And with respect to the musical work, the revenue stream is between the author and the collecting society. So the DSP will earn money and they will pay money to a collecting society, and the collecting society will pay the money to the author. On the master side, the DSP, like Spotify, will pay the money to the label, the record company, and the record company will pay money to the artist or the producer. So let's talk about the impact of the new technology. The advantage of an NFT will be transparency, because with respect to the blockchain, everybody will see the share the author owns or the artist owns in a master, in a track, in a song. So everybody will see how much money the artist receives in case he would buy a track. The next advantage is the possibility to get direct payments. Everybody knows that many artists said, well, I know that my music is played on Spotify, but I do not receive so much money from Spotify. And in case we will use an NFT with blockchain technology, the possibility of direct payment could help him that he gets directly paid. So these are two advantages with respect to the blockchain and the NFT technology. Coming to the disadvantages, and this is something I think we could discuss in our panel. I don't think that transparency is something what all of the artists are interested in. Because, for example, like Rihanna or Beyoncé or maybe Red Hot Chili Peppers, they have their shares negotiated with the record labels. They knows about the money they will receive. They earn more than other artists. And I don't think that they are interested that everybody is able to see how much money they will receive from Spotify or other DSPs. And with respect to the record labels, they are also not interested in such a transparency. Because in case it is published, the share, for example, Beyoncé will receive, then another record label could go to Beyoncé and say, well, I will pay you a better share when you come to me. So these are secrets nobody wants to reveal from the music industry. Another disadvantage, maybe. The existing contracts between the artists or the producers and the record companies, they have to be amended because they have stipulated the way the rights flow is working. Because all rights are granted to a record label, and the record label is able to grant rights to Spotify or to other DSPs for the exploitation of the master. So, in case an artist would be included in the blockchain, it could be that the artist must grant rights directly to Spotify. So this could change the rights flow. Or regarding the accounting and reductions, normally record labels agree with the artist or producers certain kind of accounting and reductions. So, for example, in case a download is not successful, with respect to this, the record label will save some money and will pay it within the next accounting period. Or for foreign usages, sometimes they deduct money. So it has to be, but we have to find a solution how we amend these clauses with respect to the contracts between the record labels and the artists. Another thing is, I think that the artists and the record labels, they will not support such an exploitation. They will stop the promotion of an artist maybe, because the possibility to earn money will be not that good as it was or as it is now. And this could lead to a point that they will not make campaigns or other things for the artist. The artist could organize or maybe has to organize the administration of the payment process. Because in case he has a direct claim against Spotify based on the blockchain, then he has to organize the payment. He has to correct the payments. He has to check the payments. This is something an artist normally is not interested in. And the last thing is, I'm not quite sure whether the simple consumers are able to understand NFT technology or trust in NFT technology. Because there are so many stories about bad situations with NFTs, crypto and everything. And it is very simple to tell you that NFT is fine. But the relevant persons are the persons outside who are able to buy a t-shirt via Amazon. And it is required to get these people to buy these NFTs. And I'm not quite sure whether they will trust in the new technology. And this is, I think, the biggest problem in the future. And that's for the moment.
Excellent. That was perfect timing. You've done that before. Alrighty. So, for those of you that are sitting, or standing actually in the back, there are a few seats kind of tucked in up here and around. So if you don't want to be standing for the next little bit, feel free to move forward and grab one of these seats. Don't be timid. You're welcome to come forward. Yes. All right. So, now we're going to have a panel discussion on the impact of Web3 on the music industry. Juggling hats. There we go. Yeah, there we are. Okay, so we are going to have a lovely panel talking about all the same stuff we just discussed kind of in that, but with different perspectives and a few different things kind of around that idea. But the idea is basically, is Spotify dead? The potential of decentralized music distribution platforms to disrupt traditional music distribution models. So welcome, already we already have one of our wonderful speakers. Marco is on stage. Miguel is back from Lab 3. Ali, hello Ali, where are you at, buddy? Ali. Did we lose Ali? From Muzikie is coming, and then we have Christopher Miller, founder of Ecosys Network. Where is Christopher? Excellent, there you are, all ready to go. So grab a seat, and there's your mic right there. Jump on in. And we will just kind of dive on in, but before we jump into everything, I wanted to also let you know, I forgot to mention it earlier because you all came in and we didn't tell you. So we, if you scan these QR codes that you see kind of on the wall, and we actually didn't show it earlier. So there's the cards kind of floating around. I don't know if we can show that again on the screen or if it's an easier way to do it. We are going to have, if you want to submit any questions, because we have 40 minutes for the panel, but they're a talkative bunch because they're very smart. But if we don't use all that time, then I'd be happy to take some questions from you. And you can use Slido, which is a thing you scan the QR code and you can submit your question there and we can look at them from there. So, well, there are some QR codes roaming around. There's one there on the wall and they're kind of roaming. I apologize, that's not going to be as convenient for you as we hoped. Well, we'll manage. So, anyways, we're going to get started here by some short introductions for each person. Just to give you some, you know, you've already heard from them a little bit, but who they are, what they do, and just to give you context as to why we're going to have this discussion about everything related to Web3 specific to music industry and distribution models and kind of the disruption that's coming. So let's just go ahead and start with you, Miguel.
Hi guys, I'm Miguel. I'm originally from Venezuela, and I work with Ape Unit. We're a developer studio based here in Kreuzberg. Started working there 5 years ago, and my background comes from the late 90s. I started actually the rave culture in my hometown in Venezuela, so I've been DJing for over 2 decades already. And obviously strongly passionate about music in general since early days. So when I discovered working for blockchain, because I'm not a tech savvy, I saw the potentials about the technology and the good things that we can do with it. So that's how we started kind of like experimenting with the technology, and I always try to look for ways and how can we support up-and-coming artists that have so many trying hard to make it happen in this music industry, you know? So we started doing some projects, and in the end we ended up realizing that, obviously with my colleague Moritz, that he runs an education platform, that the education factor is super important right now. Everybody wants to build up the new project or the new startup or whatever, but educating, exchanging knowledge and sharing ideas between everybody is actually something that we really do, and that's what we're doing with Lab3 at the moment. So next Thursday, we have our monthly meetup, so reach out after and we can talk about it and hopefully see you there.
Perfect. Ali?
Thank you so much. Yeah. So my name is Ali, and I've worked for Lightcare since 2016, a few years now. And recently I started Muzikie. I've been passionate about music since I remember, but life took me to computer programming, and I was always looking for a way to get back to one of my passions, and eventually the idea popped in my head and my co-founders to create a project that mixes these two together. And so I play a few instruments, never in a professional level to publish anything, but I always loved it, and I listen to a lot of music on a daily basis. So I just wanted to do something for the music community, the community that has given a lot of joy since I was a child. And I think that like with the values that we decided to work based on it, we will get to there, and we will eventually find the fit to create an application that helps bring more transparency, more fairness, freshness to music, and I'm really looking forward to that day.
Thanks. Chris?
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm the founder of Ecosis. I'm into the music scene since 15 years or so. And the funny thing is that 50 years ago, I wanted to become a musician, a professional musician. And what I realized that earning money in this industry is pretty hard. And I've seen that this is not only in the music industry, and this is in all industries somehow, that the revenue streams are not really good redistributed. And I was like, okay, I need to find out technically how this can be done. And this is why I just learned programming, system administration, all these things, and to find out how to set up systems to provide this, to have revenue streams not distributed, because I believe there's so many talents out there which are not supported, and if the resources or money would be more redistributed, that would mean that even the little ones would be more supported, right? And I believe there's so many hidden talents, and so I was like, when I came into blockchain 5 years ago, I was like, okay, maybe this is the thing, because this is the base technology to make systems to redistribute money. So yeah, and this is why I built Ecosis, which is a payment system, and it's built on Lisk as well.
Brilliant. And Marco?
So, in addition to what I already said, is a lawyer from 2002 representing each kind of music business, such as musicians, record labels, music publishers, collecting societies, and stuff like this. Well, I've advised a music company building up a platform for the purchase of music combined with NFTs called Paradise on the Rocks. So this was my first time that was in touch with the new technology, and interesting to hear from all these people from the technical side how we can use this new technology to make it as an advantage for the music business.
Thank you. And that's definitely, so as we dive into this idea, all the uses, we get about licensing and royalties, the ownership rights, all the ways to maybe monetize music as well as other creative content. Our topic obviously is Web3. But before we do the Web3 conversation, because it came up, we did a call to kind of prep our time together, and we talked a little bit about the fact that Web2 has already significantly disrupted the music industry in many ways. We can already think of Spotify and things like that. But we can also look at, Bandcamp, or maybe all the home concerts we saw on Stage It when we were all confined during the pandemic. You know, all these kind of things that happened that Web 2, non-crypto-y, tokenized, blockchain, Web 3 tool stuff made happen. Any thoughts on just the fact that the music industry has already evolved significantly thanks to Web 2, and then we'll take that foundation and then take it into Web 3?
Yeah, okay. I just recently read a newsletter that I follow called Music X. I recommend everybody to follow it. And it was just related to independent artists that are looking for combinations or formulas combining Web 2 and Web 3. And it's something that I really relate to. And most of it, obviously because I'm a Bandcamp fan, I support artists buying music, even though that when Napster came out, I was anti-Napster. But the community factor is something that Web 2 platforms are bringing in hardcore at the moment too. And this is something that started with Web 3, I would say. So bringing your community together and connecting directly with your community with Web 3 is actually one of the most, I'd say, marvelous things about the technology, in my opinion.
Other thoughts on the Web 2-ness of disruption?
Yes, I think the change that's happening to music is not limited to streaming services such as Spotify, but also the other platforms that have changed the face of our lives in some way, shape or form, including TikTok, for example. So we have to understand that the music has never stayed the same through the decades that has passed since like 80, 90 years ago. And it's not gonna stay the same way that we see it for today. For example, Gen Z, which are going to be a huge part of the music market pretty soon, being around 30% of the EU population, they have a different taste of music. Around 25% of the tracks that they hear, they skip after 5 seconds. And half of the track that they play, they skip after 30 seconds. They have an impatient taste for music, and that has changed a lot. You can recently see that music doesn't have an introduction, doesn't start as it did before, it doesn't go as many minutes that rock music used to have, for example, or jazz used to have. Now we have more music that are 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and they start immediately with the lyric, with the singer engaging, and because they try to serve for this need that has risen recently, and this is gonna change the music forever, and we need an industry that is agile enough to understand this need and react upon it.
I think what's fascinating is also at its most basic level of disruption, especially when I look out at our demographic of the people in the audience here, a lot of you are young enough or so young that you maybe don't remember albums in the same sense that we used to have. Because today, it's all about singles. Artists create single songs. When you look at Spotify or things like that, and you look at a lot of artists, a lot of them are just producing EPs with 1 or 2 or 3 songs on them, or even just releasing songs individually, instead of the idea of you used to create a story over 10 to 15 songs, and only maybe 1 or 2 of those might make it on the radio, but the unit itself was sold as that thing. And we don't see that anymore. We don't see it on the creation side, and we don't see it on the business side. So that's an interesting point to bring up, that we've already disrupted the way musicians were making music by moving towards the individual song model of streaming. Marco?
Maybe something to add. Well, following my experiences, the music business changed in a way that that a fan wants to come very close to the musicians, wants to the star. And I think NFT has the chance to make it very close, because you can give to the fan the possibility that he buys the song combined with meet and greet stuff or other events where you can be very close to the musicians. And I think this is something what is a result from from the Corona thing and Corona stuff, that the audience and the musicians is interested to come very close and interested to invest in the star, in the singer, and I think this could be a new way with the blockchain technology.
And not everybody's obligated. I'm not going to force you to answer every single question we're talking about. But Chris, if you have something to add, I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, there's one thing with Web2 is regarding the digitization and globalization. We are all, when we want to get the most out of our work, our creations, we need to leverage this somehow, and this is why we all are depending on platforms. This is why Google is big, this is why Apple is big, Facebook, and so on and so forth. But the problem with Web2 is at the end that there's the ownership is of the head, so to say. So there's someone owning this, the shareholders at the end. And the cool thing with Web3 is that, like he already said, it's all about this is community based. And in my opinion, platforms in the future needs to be owned by the community, the user, everybody who is using this, instead of the heads who are earning the revenue because you are using this. So better to say that Web3 is there for that we own the platforms and we get our revenues or rewards or shares from the platform because we own the tokens of the platforms, like Muzikie.
Yeah, I love it. And to kind of tag off of that, then I think the word we want to focus on there with Web3 then is intermediaries. Because when we talk about Web3 on kind of the crypto side or tokenization side, we talk about decentralization. That these technologies allow, the foundation of these technologies is the fact that they're more decentralized, not necessarily completely decentralized from the current systems we have. So if we apply that theory to labels and these other, whether it's the radio stations or whatever the things are where we needed, or even music stores, that we needed somebody else as an intermediary to distribute the music. And Web3, so if we take that Web2 model and we take it now into a Web3 concept, Web3 is removing those intermediaries. That's the value we're going to bring to this. And it's what we bring to the rest of the creator economy as well. We talked about digital art. We can talk about other people who are whatever kind of creation they're doing, if they're on YouTube or Insta, or if they maybe are a journalist who used to write for a newspaper or magazine and now they have a newsletter on Substack. All the creator economy is now benefiting from Web3 because we're removing the intermediaries in all these different ways for distribution, for monetization, and these different things. So into our Web3 idea then of how things are getting disrupted, we already saw some examples with Marco, with your talk, and a few other things. What are some of the ways that we're going to see more of this disruption, that Web3 is going to change the way music business is done? Thoughts? We've already hit on several of them, so are there more?
Yeah, so I think that decentralization goes hand to hand with crowdsourcing, and we have seen good results when we change from centralized forms to crowdsourcing, like taxi services or food deliveries or Airbnb. All of these have changed our experience, and we have seen that people adapt very well and they get good results. It changes the prices, it changes the quality of the service, creates competition. And when it comes to music, I think Web3 opens the door to a more trustable, highly adaptable space where different groups of people, companies, individuals can innovate and provide solutions for problems, for different problems that eventually work together very well because of an establishment of a standard, a platform, an economy that everybody can plug into and start serving people. When it comes to music, artists, for example, can leverage the power of Web3 to have better collaboration, to have better ownership control over their artwork, and to be able to create new channels of interaction with their fans, including selling their part of their loyalty rights for raising funds for the future artwork that they have.
I find the supply chain thing very interesting as well, because Now we have some few big labels or so, and if you are an artist, you want to become big, you need somehow to gain your reputation to be accepted from those labels as well. But the good thing of decentralization and these platforms at the end is that the community can self-organize somehow. So it's more accessible to build your own little platform. It's more accessible to get together and grow your own little label because of the tokenization effect. And you have an automation in it as well, which, for example, let's say you have an NFT, which is a label or even an artist, and you have a curation as well, which means then users, listeners are liking, reposting, and promoting with this, so to say, the tracks. The good thing is, for example, that these users can get rewarded automatically as well, and this is how you leverage it way more better. And this is how artists can have more chances automatically, because everything, when you have a look with Discord and all these things, all these platforms recently, everything is about that it's community based. And I find this pretty interesting that now the artist is not alone anymore, because the community is more willing to support the artist at the end with this. This is what I see in social media as well when it comes to blockchains.
So I think one of the things there that you both mentioned that's interesting is one of the ways that musicians might be thinking of monetizing NFTs would be to sell songs again. Maybe that's an idea. I'm not sure we're going to see that come back, because I think there are a lot of the signals that show that the habit that people have of consuming music has changed to where people don't think about buying a song anymore, whether it's a cassette tape or a CD or an album or whatever that version of was for you. And even in the early streaming times when you could buy songs digitally and have them in your library. What I think we're going to see maybe more, one of the things we talked about on our panel, is this idea of premium add-ons, this VIP exclusivity. What I mean is you can listen to Spotify for free. But if you want the extra stuff, you pay for premium. You can have playlists, you can do more with the platform, you have more access thanks to paying a little bit of money. And so what NFTs could potentially bring to some of this would be, that I think is just interesting, is that idea of, well, we'll talk about NFT ticketing a little bit, and some of those ideas about what NFT tickets can bring and why it might make sense to turn that into that. Another thing we could look at is you could buy a song, maybe an exclusive drop or some kind of maybe a live thing or something like that, which you could, so maybe you can't stream that on Spotify or Deezer or somewhere unless you have the NFT that goes with the song. So we could maybe sell songs in that way, and buying the NFT gives you the access to have access to that song on any platform that recognizes the NFT. There's a couple examples with Spotify and things that I'll mention as well. And then I think the last piece of that will be just then all of these perks that we're seeing elsewhere with NFTs for whether it's athletes, whether it is digital artists, whether it's brands, and that is your wallet that contains your NFTs becomes your new digital identity. It used to be your phone number, then it became your email address. Today it's, depending on your generation, it's either your email address or your mobile phone number, because that depends. If you go to Instagram, it's going to ask you for your phone number first, because that's its demographic. But people like me still use their email address, so it just depends. But the idea is your new identifier becomes your digital wallet, because it contains the things you've collected, the things you care about. And that means I'm going to show that when I come to an event, and the QR code for the wallet in some way, however that system works, there's all kinds of ways to interact with them. I get to sit in a special place. Maybe I get a meet and greet to meet the artist or whoever. Maybe I get special discount on merchandise or swag at the event, or maybe whatever those kind of things are. And that NFT, because it's mine in my wallet, travels between websites, between platforms to connect all of these benefits. So in that idea, what are some of, for you, the premium concepts of where maybe this could go? Or where do you see more, do you see any other very special use cases of how that value, Marco, you mentioned a lot the rights and royalties side of this about getting paid. Do you see any other use cases where there's direct monetization, or is it going to be a lot more about this community engagement and individual perks? What are your thoughts?
Well, the main thing is that I think that direct payment will be possible. And you could avoid the label system. This is a big advantage. But the other thing is, and this is from my experience, what I've seen on this platform I'm supporting for NFT music sales, is that the idea to combine it, as you said, with premium products like meet and greet, stuff like this, and to find out new products interesting for the people. This is, I think, one of the main things which could happen, but I'm not a marketing man, I'm only the lawyer.
Always ask the lawyer. Any other thoughts? If not, we'll move into our kind of some other stuff then. So on a practical side, because we're talking about some of this sounds theoretical, or maybe sounds like it's something we'll see in the future. It's actually already here. So if we talk about, let's talk about the streaming platforms. Spotify has rolled out NFT-powered playlists as their first foray into dealing with NFTs. What that means is, however you got the NFT for a particular artist, maybe the ticket to a concert was an NFT. Maybe you're a super fan in their community, so you're on wherever the community is, on Discord, on Insta, on Facebook, wherever that might be hiding. You engage a lot, so you earned an NFT in some way. Maybe you bought one of those songs that was in some way an NFT type thing. In any way, you have an NFT in your wallet that relates to a certain band or musician. You go to Spotify, you connect your wallet, it will see whatever NFTs, collectibles you have in that wallet. And now if an artist has published a playlist, which you only have public and private playlists, except now you have a third version. Private, but only accessible if you have the NFT. So whether it's their own music, whether it's, there's a lot of artists that actually curate playlists of music they love to listen to. Maybe this is all kinds of things we can see. The evolution would obviously be then private tracks that you only get if you have the NFT maybe not the NFT of that music, but as a fan. So thoughts about this idea of token gating, access to more content already on Spotify with playlists.
So generally, I would say we talked about the certification thing, and that you can make something unique with NFTs. It can be playlists, uploads, tickets, all those things. And the good thing is now that because you have this NFT, you have the license that you really have contributed to something. When we talk about the club membership and all these things, I find it pretty interesting that gives you provable identity, so to say, that you take action in something. I'll give you an example. When you have bought several tickets for a band you very like, okay, that means that you are loyal, so to say, to the band, and you can prove this with this. So in this way, for example, where let's say we have airdrops or something like this, you can prove that you are really one of the contributors within the label, within the artist collective, and you name it. And with this you can automate, for example, rewards and bonuses and all these things. It's pretty hard to do this, especially cross-platform with Web2 solutions. It's basically not really doable, especially because these data sets or the data entry at the end is replicatable. But with NFT, it's not. So it means it's really just you. And NFT have since 2 years now is a complete new level when it comes to having real unique identities. It's not possible with Web2 platforms. It's just not possible. And with this, you have better royal programs and all the things which are at the end supporting the artist better. Yep.
So all said was about the use of NFT for fans, for audience, but it also has the benefit for the artist to create a new way for selling different assets of their music that is maybe not in the same way available in Web2. For example, you could sell the stem music to the other artist, or your lyric, or different versions of unofficial versions of your music that didn't make it to the final release, and the other artist could see how it evolved from the initial idea to the end, getting to the album, and understand how the trail of thought that you as an artist, as someone who they look up for had, and they can learn from it later on, and they can even use it. It could be a kind of podcast that you just talk about what happened how did you go on and how did you achieve the music that became a hit, and later on you can sell it as an individual. And that's where, yes, for like ordinary art, a song, maybe the era of just paying for one disc that includes only one album or one song is over, but there's other doors open for different use cases of such a
I would like to
purchase.
say something. I really feel, I get excited when I see Web2 platforms integrating Web3 tools in this case, because I'm a believer that the blockchain, the best case or use case of blockchain is the utility that you can use, for example, with an NFT, but you don't need to be on a Web3 platform only to use Web3 tools. So when you see integrations, like you were saying, token-gated Spotify playlist that you can only enter there, you only have the membership has to be there, and because you're an exclusive fan from this artist, doesn't matter if it's Spotify, you know? You're using the technology there for something good, and you're bringing your community close to you.
And that NFT that's working on Spotify
Exactly.
technically could work on YouTube, could work on Deezer, could work on Apple Music, could work on Muzikie, could work on any platform out there that just integrates your wallet, integrates a wallet access, and look at wallets when you connect and see what you have. And then I see the NFTs and I can provide whatever level of, if it's your Discord server and it wants to give you special access to certain channels or all these things that we're seeing, that we're going to see more of. It's super interesting in this space.
And something that I always like to kind of like do is that, obviously because I've been I had other hats in the past, obviously preaching, doing the evangelist role of, saying that blockchain will be the best and will say the music industry will change it. But in the end, I kind of like realized that we don't have to kind of like fight against that. It's kind of like, why not work together? I think we will grow bigger and better if we work together.
So, remind me how many developers we have in the crowd here. How many crypto fan type people do we have? Anybody? Hands? Not timid? Okay, good. Because an awful lot of people who are super into crypto or blockchain love the purely decentralized idea about the opportunity that these things could bring. The reality is that most of the solutions we're going to see, at least in the intermediary time, is Web 2.5. It's Web 2 stuff squished in with Web 3 stuff. And that offends a lot of purists. But the reality is a lot of things won't. YouTube's not going anywhere. It's just not. And
nobody's going to pay for music ever again.
They're going to pay for like Spotify, they pay for the extra added value of those kind of things maybe. The new ideas. And I think the 2.5...
Forget about, 1 million copies or what, that's over. Use for the utility that you can bring your community together. Maybe 100 or 1,000 fans supporting you. That's the other model that everybody should be kind of like thinking instead of massive sales or massive streams.
I think so. Even when it comes to labels, I hear a lot that people say when NFTs come into place and establish themselves very well, labels will be eliminated from the chain of music distribution industry. But I think that's not correct, because
Marco disagrees, but we'll get there.
Definitely, it's not correct. I think that it would change shape, and it wouldn't be the same as it is. Maybe they can't leverage the power that right now they have to have contracts as they do, that eventually after years and years there are a lot of artists that don't get paid because they have a really tiny share, and also the recuperation is there that they haven't paid back. So it's not going to be like that, because Web3 and NFTs will introduce solutions for fundraiser that will limit the power of labels, but they will stay there. Definitely they will.
And I think that labels will just have to up their services game. What are they bringing to you as value? But I don't want to rain on your parade, Marco. What do you think?
I think that's absolutely correct. I think the relation between the labels and the artists, they will change. Because I think all of you, more or less, it's correct what you're saying. But I think they will survive, but they have to totally modify the system and the relation to the artist. It's the same as you said with Spotify. There are services for basic services, and there are premium services. So, for example, a big promotion campaign. And for such things, I think that the record label could do quite a lot for an artist, to make a big campaign and to invest money that the artist could make a good campaign. But in case it is a simple service like making an accounting and stuff like this, I think that the relation with respect to the money, the shares that a company, a record company will own or the artist, I think this will change. So it's a little bit similar to Spotify. Premium services, they have to be paid, but normal basic services are not that paid as they paid now. I think this will change. So it's like a record label. They are a service. This is a service company, and they have to think about it in the future.
So to continue that Web 2.5 idea of Web 2 stuff squished in with Web 3 and enabling things through Web 3. Then I think we're getting towards the end of our panel, so I'd like to just talk a little bit about NFT ticketing. And so 2 examples to focus on. One is ticketing that's enabled because you have an NFT, and then the other example will be the ticket is actually an NFT. So the first example is Ticketmaster that announced 2 weeks ago that they're doing a trial run with 2 bands to basically, when those next tour tickets will go on sale for these bands, the people who will be able to buy those tickets have to have the NFT of the band. So if you're, all the things we mentioned before, if you're a fan, if you bought a single, if you got an airdrop, which just means somebody sent it to you, maybe you have a prior NFT ticket, whatever it means, you've got an NFT as a fan in some way in your wallet, you'll connect to Ticketmaster, and instead of 6 billion people trying to buy Taylor Swift tickets in like 4.8 seconds, the true fans will get to line up and get first access. And so that's not an NFT ticket, it's just ticketing that's being token gated by NFTs. Thoughts about that? NFT tickets in general? And then I'll do my Ed Sheeran example because that's the other one. But just, do you have thoughts about NFT ticketing as a community engagement, as a tool?
So this sounds to me like what badges platforms were taking place a long time ago. For example, Reddit is doing this, and Stack Overflow, and what we have here is kind of a global badge. This is the NFT at the end. This is what I meant 5 minutes ago with that you can prove that you have taken part of something, that you contributed to something, that you are loyal of the group. Yeah, this is kind of an global badge. You can prove that you own this, so to say, that you have taken part of something. Yeah.
Other thoughts on ticketing? No?
All set, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fine. So let's talk about NFT tickets themselves. The last example, and then we'll close our timeout. Ed Sheeran, who's an Ed fan? Anybody want to admit it? There you go. You exist. He makes a fortune. Y'all have to listen to his shit. So I'm an Ed fan. I'm an Ed fan. So it's exactly. It's just not because it's amazing. Because he is amazing. Hi, Ed. Yeah. On YouTube. See. So the point is in his stadium tour in London and in Paris, I guess last year. I'm lost on years, but I think it was still last year, maybe the year before, but it was recent. And the only people who could get into the arena got in because they had his app on their phone. Because your ticket was a QR code in the app. No one was in the building without the QR code. That was your ticket. You had to download the app, use your phone number that you gave whenever you purchased the ticket, then that imported your ticket, which showed up as a QR code in the phone, and that's how you would scan to get in the building. Well, we don't have to talk about all the tech stuff, because this is how Web3 scales, is when we stop talking about Web3 and NFTs and all the tech words. Well, as a Web 2.5 example, because it's definitely squishing all kinds of things together, nobody knew that QR code was what's called a custodial wallet inside of the app. It was an NFT. You just didn't know it. And why is that important? Because those tickets cost 60 euros or 90 euros to buy. But the average price for the previous concerts that people paid was over 300 euros because scalpers would buy the tickets and resell them. Well, if you do NFT tickets, you can block resale completely. We probably don't want that. So you can allow resale, but you can limit the amount that people can charge over and above the price of the ticket. That's pretty cool. And then the next level is, you could even say, well, the ticket was 60 bucks. If you want to charge 70 bucks or 80 bucks, that's fine. But the 10 or 20 dollars extra goes back to Ed. All of that can be done with the NFT ticket. And now your ticket is a digital collectible. You can connect to the website, you can connect to Spotify with it, it serves as an NFT. So, with one little change there, destroyed ticket scalping for those arena shows. It could not exist. Thoughts on NFT tickets from that perspective? I know I kind of said the story, so maybe you don't, but the point is just, that's now. We're gonna see more and more of that amazing stuff.
True. Well, you explained everything, but it actually expands even more than that. So you could have people who are your fans, and they've been your fans for a long time. They've come to a lot of your concerts, and the more concerts they attend, the more discounts they get, or the better seats they get, or they are notified earlier when like a ticket hits the market, and 10 seconds later all of it is gone. But these people can get it like days or weeks or hours in advance, so they have a higher chance to get it. There is a large number of opportunities, and the good thing is that with NFTs, the door to creativity is open. So I even heard like one of the artists that is streaming his songs on audios has created a kind of payment that allows you to only listen to his music when you're above a certain altitude, meaning that you can only go to mountain, or you can be on an airplane to listen. So it opens the doors to creativity beyond what you can imagine in just 5 minutes.
Amazing. So last quick thought there, then we finish this, is, so we talked about the idea that you can token gate access to lots of things through an NFT. That NFT acts as the doorway into getting new stuff. Well, we talked about the fact those were your NFTs. That you as the artist Ed Sheeran has an NFT ticket, or that you as the band or the musician, you have given your community NFTs. But your wallet contains all of your digital assets that you have in that same wallet, which means, I'm gonna put her on the spot because I didn't ask before. Sarah, what's your favorite band? Okay, what's a favorite band? She's our singer who's coming up later. Oh, I totally did the wrong thing. Okay, so there you go. So here's the thing. If she wants to token gate her music, you have to have one of Sarah's NFTs to token gate the music. But you know what she can also do? If you go to her website or her Spotify or whatever, she'll eventually be able to set it up that you can use somebody else's NFTs as an identifier. You can token gate anything. Meaning, if I want to go get special access to Sarah's music, she can create a list of her favorite artists that either she's inspired by or whatever, and if you have those NFTs, you can get access to her special stuff too. That's super cool, because that means now you could be like, okay, you're a fan of Ed Sheeran, well, if you have an Ed Sheeran NFT, I'll give you some of my music for free too. It's an interesting concept to be able to connect those liked interests and things like that together. The opportunity to basically, again, if your digital identity is your wallet, well now, you can identify with all the things that you're interested in music and things like that, and the other artists in your wallet can maybe leverage those as a way to say, well hey, you like this, maybe you like that. It works for Amazon, it makes you buy more stuff. It'll definitely work for artists too. Please give our Rockstar panelists a huge round of applause. Ask them lots of questions. So ask them lots and lots of questions during the break because it's time for a break.